Hello everybody, this is Beard Guardian Games and I'm here to present you with a devlog for a game that I made specifically for the new skill, new jam, game jam. New skill, new year, new skill, I mean. We're gonna quickly go over the scenes. We have three scenes in this game, a main menu, gameplay, and end screen. The main menu is a simple image with two buttons and a label that explains everything. The gameplay is where almost everything happens. Now we have a tile map that's a hexagon. We have the hex colors picture that we made into a tile set, and we set up a few parameters where the margins are and separation and everything else. Then we can just look at the atlas coordinates and see what that we have from 0, 0 to 0, 4, then down to 4, 2. And we have a few spaces left that are currently unused. And as well, there is a way, no, I didn't do that yet, but you can just use the white one and change the hue of it and have alternatives. Next on screen we have a camera. It's simple camera control. You can zoom in and zoom out, and you can move the camera. We have the end round button, gold counter, and a timer with a label inside the camera, which will move depending on where the camera is. Next we have our is a node that holds a hexes script, and we have I can't remember what this is, but we have another info. Oh, it's the info is down at the bottom, and the texture is I'm not 100% sure what it is, but I'm not gonna touch it just so I don't ruin anything. The last day of the jam, and the end screen is just a simple button that goes back, and the rest is created inside the label, like that holds the whole text once you finish the game. Speaking of finishing the game, we have the last level, and finishing the game gives you this screen, which is pretty much just your timers, your points, and the amount of moves that you made in this run. And these can be screenshotted and sent to me so I can see who the winner was in the first week of the game jam. And we can test the main menu, the main menu button. The premise of the game is to connect your units. You can attack, capture, and buy units. Those are your three main actions, and it's a turn-based speed running strategy game. The premise and the theme of the game jam was building connections. Now, we build connections. You earn more points by having your units touch each other and be a part of a group. And the main goal to finish the level is to destroy the enemy castle, trying to do it in the least amount of turns and in the quickest amount of time while having the most of your units connected. And you can use spacebar to go for next level. Now, each unit has their cost as well as a maintenance cost. So when we buy the knight, we spent 20 on the knight, and the next knight is gonna have his gold increase, and that goes for all the units. The attack function, you need to have a knight in adjacent places to attack, as well as when you attack, just have two knights. Actually, I'm gonna have a few more just to increase the randomness because last time I was showing this. So if you attack with this knight, one of the knights is gonna die. It's just unfortunate because this happened last time when I was testing. Where, yeah, see, there we go. It's random. It was random all of these times. But yeah, once you attack, one of your knights from a group is going to disappear, and attacking ends the level. That's gonna take a snapshot of how many moves you made, what times it, and send it over, as well as calculate your points. Now you gain more points, as I said, with bigger groups. Back to the code. We are gonna start another one, and we are gonna take a look at our remote. Now we have a menu controller node which holds a script, and it's an auto load. That's something new that I learned. You can go into your project settings and have a script auto loaded. Now we're gonna take a quick look in the code, even though the code is quite large because it's a little bit of a bigger scale project than my last game. But we are gonna look at a few main things. The first is gonna be the menu controller. The menu controller handles a few things. First, it's gonna hold the string for your ending score. These are some tests that I was trying to make for sending the scores to a server. We have go to scene, which takes a number, and it's either gonna go to gameplay to end or to main menu. This is a simple handler to swap between scenes. And the way you call it is like here. You get a global variable, which is a menu controller, and you find the menu controller in the root. This actually. And you just call a script, go to scene, and say which screen it is. That's how we're going to the main menu. And that's pretty much on menu controller what it does. Now this, in the next game that I'm planning on doing, I'm going to be using something similar to hold player stats. Going over to hexes, which is also another relatively easy script to explain. It just has atlas coordinates and my units. This allows me to use one or two less functions, or it makes it a little bit easier for me to explain throughout the game what unit I'm using. So what I end up doing here is, if we go back to the code screen, now I just realized that you might have not seen the auto load, but going back to the gameplay with the tile map and the tiles, if we take a look at the farmer is for 1 atlas coordinates. And if we take a look at 4, 1, we can see that it's the farmer. Next, we're going to take a look at the tile controller. This script handles most, not all, but most tile related stuff. First, it has the info, and we get the hexes. This is the important thing. Next, it's the context menu. That's when you right click. So if we go down to the inputs, so if we go down to inputs, we can see that we are looking at right mouse buttons, which will show the context menu on the position, and the position is going to determine which tile we're looking at. And another thing that's important here is the to map function. Yeah, local to map. This function takes a look at where our mouse is. So it takes the mouse position that we're sending and takes the X. We're dividing it by zoom and camera position. This is so I'm not even showing you the code. And this is showing the actual position on the screen that we are hovering over, so we can select the correct tile. Next is we create 3 buttons. The buttons have a menu, over, and true and false. This is just so the highlighted hex doesn't show up if you're over a button. Just makes the game a little bit nicer. We have a press action for attacking. The attack, it is a little bit more complicated. It looks to see if we have adjacent knights. It looks to see if the knights are a part of a group. So I'm just going to go through over the code quickly. You because it's too much to explain. But I will show a few more important things. Another thing is, oh, this is just me trying to get the uh, button presses working. Unfortunately, this wasn't the case. Attacking takes a look if there is an adjacent. Well, first takes a look at the adjacent coordinates of the tile that we right click, because you can only attack an enemy tile. Then it checks if then it has the knight group list, which is gonna check if the knight that it finds is in a group. Now over here, we are looking at the unit layer, and I did a neat thing of separating my my units into 3 layers, all 4 technically. The terrain layer is the bottom one, which holds the ocean, the unclaimed, and the player 1, player 2 tiles. Selected layer is the layer that's highlighted when we click on a unit. Hover is a layer that turns on and off based on where our mouse is. And the unit layer holds the castle, the farmer, the priest, and everything else. So we are just checking to see if we have anything on the unit layer, which is defined as 3 because it's index 3. And we are looking at the adjacent coordinates, and if they have a knight on them, and if so, we're basically just checking if on that coordinate and that unit layer it's atlas coordinates of a knight, and the knight atlas coordinates are, going back to check, 3 1. As well, if it's our tile on the main layer, then we do some counting, see how many knights are in a group, and we are gonna eventually kill and replace the person. Next is we are checking if there is anything on the unit layer. So if there is nothing on that layer, it gives us a cell source ID of -1 because that's null. So as long as this isn't null and that it isn't a castle, because we have a different thing for the castle, and it's a enemy player coordinate, and the has knight is true because we say that has knight is true as long as we find a knight. It's gonna replace a random knight, or it's gonna remove a random knight, and it's gonna capture it for us as well. We're gonna use a move. This one is for. Oh yeah, this just checks if it's a group or not. If it's not a group, it's just gonna remove the lone knight. If it's more than if it's not equal to -1, so if there is an index, then that means it's gonna take out the knight from a group. And of course, if it's a castle, it's gonna call win condition, and the win condition stops the timer. But we are gonna get back to it. That's the attack. Capture is pretty simple, just a couple of checks. If it's checks if there are adjacent tiles to our building, see if it's unclaimed, and if we have moves, and then it checks if it's a player 2. If it's unclaimed, it's 10. If it's a player 2, it's 20 gold, and that's pretty much it. And now the buy menu is a little bit more of a fun one. It checks if it's our tile and that it doesn't have anything in the unit layer. This is something that I used the first time. So we create a button that creates a button, and we put all of this info into it. And going back down, we just didn't have to do the text 3 times now. This is pretty cool. I like this. Next is our script to randomly spawn a couple of units. No, I'm sorry. This is a script to actually buy units, so to spawn them. So it checks if we have enough gold, and if it's our tile, and that's it. I mean, checks which tile, which unit it was. So because we are calling the script here, so it's a spawn unit with the atlas coordinates of farmer and knight and priest. And these are some inputs that are checking to see if we are moving units. The show context menus for the 3 actions that we have. And last thing is we have a few things here. This one, this is to show the highlighted things. So basically it's setting additional layer, which is layer 2 for select, and that's the white tile. That's the 00 hex. And checking if to see if I moved away from it, and if I moved away from it, it's gonna turn it back, and it turns it back by setting the third thing, which is source ID to -1. That's pretty much it. That's how I handle this. Camera control is pretty simple. It has it has the arrow keys, and later on I added them in the input. So the Godot for W, A, S, and D. It looks at spacebar for ending the turn. This is needed because it's a progress, so I clicked the spacebar and skipped a couple of turns. Next, we have the camera positions. Now, because the camera is positioned in the top left corner of, well, the actual node is in the top left corner, so we need to do as such. So it's a full screen minus the full screen divided by the zoom. And zoom is pretty simple, checks to see if I'm moving mouse wheel up and down, and it's going to zoom in and zoom out by 0.1. Now, game controller, that's the biggest script that we have. We have a couple of variables here, nothing too major, just a couple of group things and a few buttons and a few nodes that we get a few nodes. Restart is fun. This is how we handle the pressing R and how we handle next and last level. So next level and finish level are 2 buttons that are just full screen, which are gonna either begin or end level. And we just set all of the things back to zeros. We stop everything. We clear all the groups. We load level. Now the load level is a fun function because I made it so that I can put as many levels as I want just by adding more cases. So I have 4 lists for player 1, player 2 unclaimed, for water coordinates, which are just literally just vectors for where they're supposed to be. Now, granted, this could have been done easier, but we ended up with this solution. And I just have 5 cases for this, and as well it has a set tile, so it sets the tile. And case 6 is currently press button, which just goes into the end game scene. That's how I was. That's how I hold it first. Speaking of, this is me testing a few button presses that I never actually did. Save level, save similar thing, goes through the whole map, checks every single main layer, and afterwards it prints out the exact thing that I need to just copy and paste it down into the level. This was a pretty good thing that I did, because in this way I just did them in editor, put a play on, printed the whole level out, and had 5 levels in like 5 minutes. Next is formatting time. This is just getting the milliseconds and turning them into seconds and into minutes. Win condition, it calculates the points, it calculates the time and everything, and then just sends it. And creates the end button, as well as clears the costs and clears the coordinates. These are used for the placing down units. This is just some biggest group calculation. I think too fun. They're all done by AI, so I can't really do much to explain them better. But yeah, place random units, takes random coordinates and places down a couple of units. The print info is just for the console. This is how I check adjacent. That's pretty much it. It looks at the positioning of our hexagon. So the way we can get this is we can go into the editor, and if we pay attention to, let's say, this 0, 0 tile, and if we just check what numbers every single one of these is, and then we go into, let's say, this one, and then check all the numbers around, we get this function eventually, but you can find this on the internet. And this is just for the attacking to check if there are knights, grouping farmers, grouping priests, and the grouping knights. This is used for calculating the points. Moves used is pretty simple. Add +1 to made and -1 to available. Unit deduction per round, income per round, and player 2 just plays a couple of scripts. It calculates the goal, deducts units, everything. And player turn, sorry. This is again just for printing out the information. New round checks to processes game tiles, prints out the information. Every 5 rounds it adds a move, gives you moves available, and it places the units on the round 1. Next is this, which is process game tiles. This checks how many tiles the player and the enemy has. This is for calculating goal later on. It also gets the coordinates of all the knights, all the frees, all the farmers, so we don't have to do that couple of more than once. And saves the coordinates of the player and the enemy into a list, and as well as the unclaimed coords. These were used for the printing out level save. Just goes the whole map. My map goes from -1 to 25 and -1 to 13 coordinates. We have 4 atlas coordinates that we get, and then we're just checking to see if this one is matching with player 1, if it's matching with player 2. So this is basically the thing that we're looking at. Is it main layer or is it unit layer? We have the hover menu, which just allows or doesn't allow for the highlight. Timer. The progress one is checking to see if we have available moves, updates timer, and checks if the castle is gone. It calls win condition. Next is handling the positioning of the buttons with zoom. And that's it. We're done. You can save the changes. I'm probably gonna add some music tomorrow morning to post the game for the jam. But that's pretty much it. Thank you everybody for watching. See you all next time.